The envelope looked like junk, crumpled corners, no real markings. I almost tossed it in the trash with the pizza coupons. Then I saw the return address, Rothman and Dale, attorneys at law. My fingers froze. What is it? Mia called from the living room, curled on the couch with her swollen belly propped up on pillows. A letter from Grandpa's lawyers, I said slowly, tearing it open. She sat up straighter. After all this time? I skimmed the contents, my heart skipping. He left me something. A piece of land. The original Ramirez property. Behind Oakwood Ridge. No way, she breathed. I thought that was sold years ago. I shook my head. Apparently not. Later that afternoon, we drove out. Mia rested her hand on her stomach, humming softly as we passed rows of trees. When we pulled up, my breath caught. The rusted gate still stood. An old shed sagged near the edge. Wildflowers blanketed the field in gold and purple. It's beautiful, Mia whispered. I can see why your grandfather kept it. I stepped out, walked to the gate, ran my fingers along the cool iron. He told my dad this land carried our family's roots. Sweat. Blood. Memories. You think he knew what it would mean to you? She asked, joining me. I nodded. Yeah. I think he did. That night, I dreamed of kids running through the field. Of rebuilding that shed. Of bonfires and stories passed down like sacred scripture. I hadn't felt this connected to anything in years. The next morning, Mia was still asleep when I made coffee. I walked out back to feel the morning air again, except this time, something was wrong. A bulldozer. Bright yellow. Loud. Idling at the edge of the field. My heart jumped. I ran toward it. Hey! What are you doing? A guy in a hard hat looked up, annoyed. Clearing for the new development. New what? This is private property. Not according to the HOA, it ain't, he said, smirking. I stared at him. HOA? What HOA? This land isn't even part of the community. Take it up with Patricia Wilson, he shrugged. We've got permits. I backed away, pulse racing. Who the hell is Patricia Wilson? He didn't answer. Just turned and waved to another crew member. The engine roared louder. I stood there, fists clenched, the smell of diesel burning in my throat. Back at the car, Mia looked up, alarmed. What's going on? They're trying to build on it, I said, my voice shaking. They say the HOA owns it. But, that's your land. Not if Patricia Wilson has her way. And that was the moment. The exact moment I knew I wasn't just inheriting land. I was inheriting a war. She walked toward me like she owned the world, heels stabbing the dirt, clipboard clutched like a gavel. You're trespassing, she said before I could even open my mouth. I blinked. Excuse me? This land, she gestured broadly, was slated for development months ago. It's part of our expansion plan. I folded my arms. This land was left to me by Julio Ramirez. She smirked. Oh, that old man? He sold it. Documents are signed and filed. No, he didn't. I stared her down. I have the will. She flipped open her clipboard like she was unveiling scripture. What you have is sentiment. What I have is a quitclaim deed. Fully legal. County stamped. She handed it to me. The signature. This isn't his handwriting. Then maybe you don't know your grandfather as well as you thought, she said, voice like sugar-coated acid. My grip tightened. This is a forgery. You're welcome to challenge it. But I suggest you do so off-site, she said, already turning toward the bulldozer. This is active construction. I blocked her path. You're not touching this land until this is sorted out. You don't get to make that decision. I inherited this property. You inherited a problem, she snapped. And I solve problems. She walked off like she'd already won. I just stood there, stomach churning, fingers still clamped around the fraudulent document. Later that night, I sat on the couch in the glow of the kitchen light, still holding the paper. Mia walked out slowly, rubbing her belly. You've been out here for hours, she said. You didn't even eat. She says she has a deed. Claims he sold it. Mia's eyes narrowed. Your grandpa hated developers. I know. And this signature? It's not his. It's barely even legible. Then it's fake. I know it is. But she's already moving in equipment. She's bold. She's covered her tracks. Mia lowered herself beside me. So, what are we going to do? I stared down at the signature. We're going to fight. She placed her hand on mine. Are you sure? They think we'll just give up. That will see permits and panic. But this isn't just a field to me. It's home. It's family. It's history. It's everything Grandpa stood for. I got up, went into the hall closet, and yanked down 2 dusty boxes I hadn't touched in years. Grandpa's records. Property taxes, letters, maps, newspaper clippings. There has to be something here, I muttered. Something that proves she's lying. Mia placed a warm hand on her belly. We'll find it. For her. I looked at her stomach. Our daughter hadn't even been born, and I already knew, I'd teach her to fight for what's right. I flipped the first box open, heart pounding. It wasn't about land anymore. It was about legacy. I hate the smell of old paper, Mia said, fanning herself with a folded zoning map. Better than smelling Patricia Wilson's perfume again, I muttered, flipping another brittle page. The county recorder's office was quiet except for the soft squeak of chairs and the click of a copier. We'd been there for 3 hours, eyes blurry from staring at microfilm and dusty ledgers. Anything? Mia asked, shifting her weight on the bench. I could see she was tired, her hand resting on her belly. Not yet, I said. Most of this stuff's from the 40s and 50s. Grandpa paid taxes on this land every year. Never missed one. She leaned in. So he never sold? No, I tapped the edge of the file. He held on to this land like it was sacred. Then how'd she get that deed? I don't know, I said, flipping to the next file. But I'm going to find out. 2 minutes later, I froze. What? Mia asked. I held up a scanned page, heart thudding. Here. Look. Her eyes scanned the document. Transfer of title. Julio E. Ramirez to Oak Ridge Estates HOA. Dated 3 months before he died, I said. But look at the signature. She leaned in. J. Ramirez? That's it? Printed. No cursive. Not even his full name. His legal signature was always Julio Ernesto Ramirez. I've seen it 100 times. You think it's fake? I know it is, I said. He would have never signed something like this. Especially not to them. I snapped a photo of the document, requested certified copies, and filled out a form for public records. My hands were shaking. Back in the car, Mia stared ahead. They're forging papers now? Not just forging. Filing them with the county. That means someone inside's helping. She turned to me. This goes deeper than Patricia. I nodded. Yeah. She's just the face. Someone's backing her. That evening, we walked the edge of the land again. A breeze rustled through the trees, but it didn't calm me. Is that spray paint? Mia pointed to a tree. I walked over. A bright orange X marked the trunk. They're tagging trees for removal. She pointed again. There's another one. And those stakes. That wasn't there yesterday. They're moving fast, she said softly. I kicked a stake loose, tossed it into the grass. Because they know it's stolen. And they want it buried before anyone looks too closely. Mia touched her belly. We have to stop them. I know. We will. She gave a small, tired smile. Julio would be proud. I looked out over the field. He didn't fight for this land all those years just for someone to bulldoze it. We stood there a moment, silent. Then I said it aloud for the first time. She's dirty. And she's not alone. This smells like fraud, Ruben said, flipping through the photos I'd brought. You think we have a case? I asked. If that signature's fake, and it looks fake, we've got grounds for civil and maybe even criminal action. Ruben was young, maybe early 30s, but he had fire in his eyes. I needed that. Someone who wasn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with people like Patricia. I want a cease and desist filed today, I said. You'll have it by this afternoon. And I'll draft a petition to freeze any further construction until we resolve the deed issue. By sunset, Ruben had filed the paperwork. I went home feeling like we'd landed a punch. Then came the hiss. Flat, I muttered, crouching beside the front passenger tire. Both of them? Mia asked from the porch. Slashed, I said, standing up. Not a nail. This was deliberate. She wrapped her arms around her belly. What kind of people do that? The kind who know they're losing. We patched one tire enough to drive to a shop. When we got back, an envelope was taped to our door. What now? I muttered, tearing it open. Mia read over my shoulder. HOA violation, unauthorized occupation of contested land. Fine, $2,500. Are they serious? I don't even live in the HOA, I growled. They're trying to scare you. I shook my head. No. They're retaliating. That night, I called Ruben. They fined me for being on my own property. He sighed. That's illegal on so many levels. But it also means they're panicking. Patricia has connections, I said. City Council. Planning office. She knows people. Then we expose them, he replied. Mia didn't sleep much. Neither did I. I heard her cry in the bathroom, muffled behind the door. When she came out, I held her. I'm scared, she whispered. I know. The doctor said stress is dangerous. For the baby. I nodded, holding her tighter. Then we'll push back twice as hard. The next day, I went to City Hall to request zoning maps. I got stonewalled. Your request's been flagged, the clerk said, barely making eye contact. Flagged by who? Sorry, sir. That information's restricted. I left fuming. My phone buzzed with another HOA violation by lunchtime. 2 trash cans on the curb. We lived on private property. I opened the window and screamed into the wind, we're not part of your damn HOA. Mia placed a hand on my shoulder. You can't let them break you. They want us to walk away, I said. But I'd burn down the courthouse before I let them take this land. She smiled weakly. That's the man I married. I kissed her forehead. We're not going anywhere. Later that night, I dug through Grandpa's storage again. Documents. Letters. A property survey with his signature. Real ink. Real name. Patricia picked the wrong family. War had been declared. And I was ready. The knock came just after sunset. Mr. Ramirez, a soft voice called. "It's Mrs. Hernandez." I opened the door. "Please, come in." She stepped inside, holding a foil-covered tray. "I brought tamales. And this." She handed me a sealed manila envelope. Her fingers trembled. "What is it?" She looked around like someone might be listening. "Your grandfather gave it to me before he passed. Told me to keep it safe. Said someday, someone would try to take what was his." I opened the envelope slowly. "You knew he expected this?" "He didn't trust them," she whispered. "Especially not Patricia." Inside was a stack of documents. The first stopped my breath, his will. Notarized. Dated a full year after the HOA's so-called deed. "It's real," I muttered. Signed. Stamped. "He wanted you to have that land. And now I have proof." At the bottom of the stack was a photograph. Grandpa, arms crossed, standing next to Patricia Wilson. They weren't smiling. I flipped it over. His handwriting scratched across the back, "Never trust this woman." I looked up at Mrs. Hernandez. "Why didn't you come forward sooner?" "She scares people," she said. "But not anymore." The next morning, I knocked on Mr. Patel's door. He lived 2 houses down, barely ever left his porch. "She fined me $1,200 because my mailbox had chipped paint," he said, not even waiting for me to explain why I'd come. "I painted it the next day." "Still charged me." "You kept records?" He nodded. "Every single notice." He brought out a binder. "You're not the only one," he said. "Most of us just paid out of fear." Mia helped me sort them, dates, amounts, violations. There were dozens. Petty. Repetitive. All signed by Patricia. I knocked on more doors. A retired teacher who'd been threatened with foreclosure over a satellite dish. A couple forced to remove their garden because the flowers were too bright. A woman whose home had been entered while she was away, no warrant, no notice. They were tired. Angry. Ready. Each one handed me copies, statements, photos. "Why now?" I asked them. "Because you're fighting," one neighbor said. "And because we lost our voices a long time ago." Mia sat on the porch sorting through evidence. "This is bigger than a land grab. She's weaponized authority," I said. "Turned an HOA into a private kingdom. And now it's cracking." I nodded. "She built it on silence. And you broke that silence." I stared down at Grandpa's photo. "He warned us." Mia placed a hand on mine. "Now we warn everyone else." By nightfall, I had enough paperwork to fill a courtroom. A whisper had become a roar. And Patricia Wilson was about to hear it. "Just 5 minutes," Mia said, grabbing the small watering can. "I want to check the marigolds." "They're fine," I called from the porch. "You should be resting." She smiled. "I just need the air." I leaned back in my chair, watching her shuffle across the yard, slow but peaceful. The sun peeked through the oak branches, scattering gold across the grass. She knelt beside the flower pots, humming softly. Then I heard tires crunch gravel. A silver SUV rolled up and stopped at the curb. I stood up instantly. "No. Not now." The door opened. Patricia Wilson stepped out, stilettos digging into the dirt like she owned it. "What do you want?" I shouted. She didn't answer. She walked straight toward Mia. "Stop right there," I warned, heart already pounding. Mia stood up, one hand on her belly. "You're not allowed here." "I'll go where I please," Patricia snapped. "No, you won't," Mia said, calm but firm. Then it happened, so fast my brain didn't catch up. Patricia lunged. I saw her hand shove forward. Saw Mia stumble. No! I screamed. Mia's heel twisted. Her arms flailed. She fell backward. I jumped the steps, feet barely hitting the ground. Mia! She lay on her side, gasping. Her dress was already soaked with blood. The baby, she choked. Oh my God, the baby. I dropped beside her. I've got you. I've got you. Call an ambulance. I screamed toward the house, but my fingers were already dialing. Her eyes locked onto mine. Don't let her hurt. She won't, I whispered. I swear. The sirens felt like they took forever. In the ER, doctors rushed her through swinging doors. A nurse handed me a clipboard, but I couldn't hold the pen. When the surgeon finally came out, I already knew. He looked exhausted. Mr. Ramirez, he began. I shook my head. No. No. Don't. We did everything we could. The trauma caused a severe placental abruption. I backed into the wall. She's gone. I whispered. She's stable. But, your daughter. Sophia. My legs gave out. I don't remember falling, just Mia's name on repeat in my mind. When they let me in, she was pale. Still. A tube ran from her arm. Machines beeped steadily. Her eyes fluttered open. Is she okay? I couldn't speak. She already knew. Tears slipped from the corners of her eyes. No. I grabbed her hand and sobbed. She screamed, this sound I'll never forget. Raw, broken, from the depths of a shattered soul. I should have stayed inside, she cried. This is not your fault, I said. She shook her head. She killed our baby. I know. That night, I sat in the hospital chair, still holding her hand. Everything inside me had been burned to ash. This wasn't a land dispute anymore. This wasn't just a fight over a signature or a tree line. This was war. I hadn't even made it home from the hospital when my phone started buzzing. Did it really happen? Mr. Patel asked. I didn't answer right away. She kicked my wife. Mia lost the baby. Oh God, he whispered. I'm so sorry. Word spread faster than I expected. By nightfall, candles lined the sidewalk outside our home. Someone left a note that read, "She mattered." Mrs. Hernandez knocked the next morning. We're not letting this go quiet. I opened the door, exhausted. What can we even do? We speak. Together. That evening, a group of us gathered on my porch, Mrs. Hernandez, Mr. Patel, the teacher with the satellite dish, the couple with the garden. We made flyers. Called neighbors. Created a name. Sophia's voice, Mia said softly from the doorway. Her voice was weak, but steady. We all turned to her. She never got one, Mia continued. But maybe others can. By the end of the week, we had a location, the community center. A date. A time. Patricia will try to stop it, Mr. Patel warned. She already took enough, I said. She's not taking this. The center was packed. 70 people, maybe more. Some stood, some sat, but all of them stared toward the podium. I stepped up first, holding a photo of Sophia's ultrasound. My daughter never got to take her first breath, I said. Because someone thought power was more important than people. A murmur rippled through the room. She's been fining us, bullying us, threatening us for years, Mr. Patel stood and said. Enough. A mother raised her hand. She told me my son's wheelchair ramp was unsightly. Gasps. Mrs. Hernandez approached the mic. Julio Ramirez trusted me with evidence. That land was never hers. And now a child is gone. Mia, still healing, sat quietly in the back. I saw her wipe her eyes. Patricia stormed in halfway through. Clipboard in hand. Chin raised high. This is an unauthorized gathering, she barked. No, I said, stepping forward. This is a community. You don't have the right. We have every right, I cut her off. You're done hiding behind bylaws. Reuben, standing at the edge of the room, stepped forward. An emergency injunction was filed this morning. She froze. And granted, he added. All development is paused until we finish our case. Whispers turned to claps. Patricia spun on her heel and stormed out. I looked around at the faces, tired, angry, but no longer afraid. They took our daughter, I said. They won't take anything else. The room stood with me. And for the first time since the fall, I felt it, not victory, not peace, but power. Shared power. The fire was lit. And this time, it wasn't going out. The courtroom buzzed with tension. I sat at the plaintiff's table, hands clenched, heart pounding. Mia gripped my arm. Reuben leaned in. You ready? He asked. I've been ready. Patricia walked in like she was walking into a gala, heels sharp, face smug, flanked by a suited lawyer with a briefcase that probably cost more than my car. She didn't even glance our way. The judge entered. Court is now in session. Reuben stood. Your Honor, we'll begin with Exhibit A. He handed over the will, Grandpa's real one. Notarized. Dated after the so-called sale. We'll also call Dr. Elaine Morris, certified forensic document examiner. A woman in a navy blouse stepped up. Calm. Confident. The signature on the HOA deed is inconsistent with Julio Ramirez's known handwriting, she said. It's a forgery. Patricia's lawyer jumped up. Objection. Sustained, the judge cut him off. Let the witness finish. She continued, unfazed. The strokes are printed, not cursive. It lacks biometric pressure typical of Mr. Ramirez's historical signatures. Next came the footage, Patricia on camera entering Mr. Patel's porch unannounced. Audio clips of her threatening to fine an elderly couple over garden gnomes. A folder of violation letters, all signed by her, all targeting people who had spoken out. Your Honor, Reuben said, this is not just a property dispute. It's systemic abuse. Then he handed over the hospital report. My chest tightened. Mia looked away. This document details the injuries sustained by Mia Ramirez. It includes the OBGYN's confirmation that placental abruption was caused by physical trauma. My client's unborn child, Sofia Ramirez, did not survive. The room went still. Patricia's lawyer shot up again. This isn't relevant to property. The judge raised a hand. Sit down. Reuben turned. Ms. Wilson, do you deny being present during the incident? She didn't speak. Do you deny touching my client's wife? Nothing. Do you deny threatening and harassing residents under your authority? Still nothing. The silence was louder than a scream. The judge flipped through the files, then looked up. Title to the property is hereby restored to Mr. Ramirez. The court also finds sufficient evidence for civil damages. Criminal charges, assault, forgery, unlawful entry, will be referred to the district attorney. I exhaled, chest finally loosening. Patricia stood, face pale now. Her lawyer whispered something, but she didn't move. A bailiff approached. You can't do this, she said sharply. The judge didn't flinch. It's done. As they led her away, the room remained hushed. No cheers. No clapping. Just quiet justice. Mia leaned in. We did it. I nodded. We're not finished. But we're finally winning. Outside the courthouse, our neighbors waited, Mr. Patel, Mrs. Hernandez, people who once whispered now standing tall. It's almost over, I said. Mia smiled faintly. Almost. And I knew what she meant. Sophia wasn't coming back. But her voice, our voice, had just shaken the walls of power. The wind felt different. Not cold. Not sharp. Just quiet. Mia and I stood at the edge of the field, weeks after the verdict, the same patch where she once fell. The construction fences were gone. No machinery. No orange tape. Just open sky and soft soil. She took a slow step forward, her hand brushing mine. It looks untouched. It feels like it can finally breathe. We walked further, toward the oak tree. That same watering can still sat beneath it, rusted now. Mia knelt, fingers pressing gently into the earth. She would have played right here. I swallowed hard. I know. Our neighbors began to arrive, quietly, respectfully. Mrs. Hernandez carried a small bouquet of wildflowers. Mr. Patel held a bundle of candles. Even people I barely knew showed up, standing in silence, holding one another. Mia placed a white ribbon on the ground. This is for her. I cleared my throat. Thank you all for coming. We didn't want a funeral. We wanted this. Something alive. Candles were lit. Flowers planted. No speeches. Just presence. Mia whispered, this land always meant something to your grandfather. Now it means something to all of us. I nodded. We'll make sure it stays that way. The next day, we held a meeting in the community center. Not angry this time. Hopeful. I want to announce something, I said, standing up. We're founding the Sofia Ramirez Foundation. Its mission is to protect historic land and help those bullied by HOAs. A few gasps. Then applause. Mrs. Hernandez raised her hand. And the board? Ruben stepped forward. All members associated with Patricia have been removed or resigned. By law, you're allowed to elect replacements. Someone shouted, let Mrs. Hernandez lead. She turned red, smiling. Only if you'll help me. Hands shot up. Mia leaned in. Look what you started. No, I said, look what we started. Back on our porch that evening, I watched kids ride their bikes again. Doors stayed open. People laughed in the distance. Mia came outside, sat beside me. Do you think she knows? Sophia? I asked. She nodded. I think, she sees it all. Mia rested her head on my shoulder. You fought for her. We fought for each other. She closed her eyes. And for this place. The breeze picked up, rustling the wildflowers we'd planted by the oak. It no longer felt like the scene of a tragedy. It felt like the beginning of something good. 6 months later, I stood at a podium I never imagined standing behind. The plaque in front of it read Sofia Ramirez Park. The mayor adjusted the microphone beside me. Today we honor not just a child, but a movement born from love, loss, and justice. My hands trembled as I took my place. I looked out, over families, neighbors, city officials. Mia stood in the front row, eyes locked on mine. A gust of wind lifted the edge of the white ribbon stretched across the entrance gate. I cleared my throat. 6 months ago, I stood in a courtroom, broken. Angry. Grieving. But I also stood with purpose. Silence settled across the lawn. We fought not just for a piece of land. We fought for truth. For dignity. For the right to be heard. And we didn't do it alone. I held up the framed ordinance, freshly passed legislation requiring full transparency in HOA dealings, independent audits, and resident rights protections. They're calling it Sophia's Law, I said. Because my daughter, who never got to take a breath, still found a way to breathe change into this world. Mia wiped her eyes. I took a deep breath. We stood up. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone who's ever been silenced by power and fear. My daughter will never play in this park. But because of her, hundreds of others will. A soft breeze stirred the air, brushing my cheek. I paused. She's here, Mia whispered from the front. I nodded slowly. Yeah. I think she is. The mayor stepped back up. And now, on behalf of the city, I declare this park open to the community. May it always stand as a symbol of what happens when good people refuse to back down. The ribbon was cut. Cheers broke out. Children rushed past the gates, laughter echoing across the grass. Some ran beneath the oak tree. Others climbed the small wooden bridge we'd helped build. Mia came to my side. We did it. We did, I said, my voice thick. And so did she. Together, we walked to the memorial stone beneath the tree. It was simple. Just her name. A single line beneath it, let her voice be the last silence. Mia placed a marigold beside the stone. She would have had your strength, she whispered. And your heart. We stayed there a while, watching the park fill with life, running feet, distant music, neighbors reunited. No fear. No rules scribbled in small print. Just people. I looked up into the sky. The clouds shifted, letting sunlight spill through like gold. Peace. Real peace. It had taken everything to get here. Pain. Loss. Fire. But we turned all of it into something that mattered. Something permanent. Sophia's name would never fade. And her story? It would never be silenced again.